Dr. Hovind, I love your doctoral thesis. I've torn it to pieces with house and gaffle. I can't remember when I last pissed myself laughing. It's a good thing the thesis mopped the piss off the floor.
Welcome to part 29 of this read-through and peer review of Kent Hovind's doctoral dissertation, which was published on wikileaks.org on December 9th, 2009. If you have not yet seen any of the previous episodes, then I recommend that you go back and see those first, as this episode will start off exactly where we left off in the last. In the last episode, we left Kent talking about the American anthropologist Henry Fairfield Osborn. This is where we pick up in this episode. Kent quotes Osborn's work, The Evolution of Human Races, in Natural History magazine, January-February 1926, page 129. The Negro stock is even more ancient than the Caucasian and Mongolian, as may be proved by the examination not only of the brain, of the hair, of the bodily characteristics such as teeth, the genitals, the sense organs, but of the instincts, the intelligence. The standard of intelligence of the average adult Negro is similar to that of the 11-year-old youth of the species Homo sapiens. Yes, Kent, Osborn was a racist. He also believed in eugenics, and some of his work was unfortunately based on the Piltdown Man hoax. He did, however, do some worthwhile things. For instance, in 1905 he described and named Tyrannosaurus rex, and in 1924 he described and named Velociraptor. It is generally accepted that Osborn was a first-rate science administrator, however, a third-rate scientist. He is generally remembered and renowned as a fossil hunter rather than an original thinker. But anyway, Kent continues. Evolution has brought the world so much trouble. Yes, Kent, unlike religion, which has brought us countless bloody wars and crusades, witch hunts and persecutions, and has justified genocide. This is true in biblical times as it is today, as is the fact that religious dogma is used to justify the oppression and victimization of countless people across the world. The theory of evolution has got an awful long way to beat that track record. But Kent continues. This is one of the key tools that Satan is using here in the end times to bring the world under his dominion. Oh dear. Kent believes the end of the world is coming. How long will it be before we see Kent wandering the streets in a sandwich board with a placard shouting, "The end of the world is nigh. Repent now, ye sinners." We could probably take Kent a little more serious if that was the case. But anyway, Shintoism is the state religion of Japan. It is a mixture of Buddhism and ancient polytheistic myths about Japanese people. Shintoism teaches that the Japanese are descendants of the gods and are destined to rule the world. Ah yes, Kent, the good old rule the world thing. It's not like we don't see that in any other religions, is it, Kent? They teach that the emperor is from the sun god, the highest god. Well, Kent, at least you can see the sun. It's like George Carling said, if you're going to pray to a god, if you're going to pray to a deity, then at least make it something tangible, something that you can see. That is why George Carling prayed to Joe Pesci. After all, as George said, Joe is someone who can get things done. But anyway, It was Shintoism, based on evolution, that was responsible for Japan's actions in World War II. They were determined to take over and rule the world, just like Hitler was doing in Germany. Both of them were motivated by a desire to help evolution along. Well, Kent, that's not strictly true now, is it? In Germany, Hitler was trying to build an empire, the Third Reich, that would be equal to or rival the British Empire, which, at the time, Hitler greatly admired. Japan, on the other hand, well, it is generally truthful to say that they were on the hunt for more resources. Japan has no natural source of oil. It has to import it. The same is the case with many other natural resources. When Japan started its invasion of friends Indochina, under the authority granted by the Export Control Acts, the US ceased all exports to Japan with one specific exception. That was oil. The US considered that stopping the supply of oil would be considered by Japan a provocation for war. However, in part because of new American restrictions on domestic oil consumption, in July 1941, oil exports to Japan ceased. President Franklin D. Roosevelt had earlier moved the Pacific Fleet to Hawaii and ordered a military build-up in the Philippines in the hope of discouraging Japanese aggression. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in the hope of neutralizing this American fleet. Unfortunately, this simply provoked the US into war and sparked the war in the Pacific. As usual, Kent, you see religion's influence where there is none. Evolution has absolutely nothing to do with any of this, and you are dead wrong. But anyway, Kent continues. This goes right back to the Garden of Eden, where Satan said, "Ye shall be as gods." Ah, yes, Kent. Words uttered by a talking snake in an imaginary garden. Evidence for which there is none. But whatever. From the beginning, man has had a desire to take over the throne of God, and Satan promotes that desire by the teaching of evolution. And there ends the first chapter in Kent Hovind's doctoral dissertation. And never before have I read such misinformation, such blatant misrepresentation of the truth, such irrelevance and blatant character assassination as I have done in those previous 37 pages. However, I suspect that this record is soon to be broken as we move into the second chapter in Kent's doctoral dissertation, The Religion of Evolution. However, I think I'll attempt that in the next episode. Before I continue to wade further into Kent's ramblings, I think I need to take on something a little more intellectually stimulating. I think I need to touch base, to connect with something more connected with reality, something more grounded in fact. As I cast my eyes over the books that fill the numerous shelves that line the walls of my study, I see a book that I am not opened for many years. I think I'll open its pages once more and partake in its wisdom, a wisdom that is far greater than Kent's. I think I'll grab my crayons and continue where I left off, in my Teletubby colouring book.